15 million members, empowered to learn, to create, to grow, to harvest, to lead, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
Kupata kumpenda mtu kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811*3 hash.
Mapenzi si kumpenda mtu kwa kuwa amekamilika, kwani nawe pia una mapungufu yako. Kwa hivyo mapenzi ni kumpenda mtu na mapungufu yake.
Kupata kumpenda mtu, bonyeza *811*398 hash. *811*398 hash.
Good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News. Well, we have a comprehensive bulletin, and some of the issues that we shall be taking a look at are matters security, matters education, matters health, politics, among others. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Sign language interpreter is Lensal. And to kick us off, we cross over to Samburu County, where one woman has been killed by suspected bandits in Longewan and village in Samburu County, who later made away with livestock. According to the locals, the woman was shot dead by bandits when she went to fetch firewood. The residents are now calling on the government to beef up security in the area.
Somber mood engulfed the Longewan village in the county of Samburu after a woman died in the hands of 4 suspected bandits. According to the residents, the deceased was shot 3 times when she went to fetch firewood before meeting her untimely death.
Mambuzi yetu inapelekwa kila usiku mchana. Kwa hivyo tafadhali tunaomba serikali kuu wakuje hapa na wafanye operation ya kutosha na wahakikisha ya kwamba tunakaa kwa nchi yetu tukiwa na amani.
The attacks come barely a week after a peace meeting between the area residents and members of the neighboring community from Baringo. The locals now want the government to bring in more officers and protect them from the constant attacks.
Juzi tuliongea nao kuhusu amani Jumamosi, lakini leo alianza kupamia watu na kubeba mbuzi na kuua mama.
Sasa na hiyo mama alikuja kuua hapa na aliua mjane. Kama ni mali ambayo anachukua, si ndio afadhali achukue mali na wasi watu. Sasa hiyo mama sasa amekufa ni mjane. Sasa nani atalisha hiyo watoto?
The irate residents further called for police reservists to be deployed to the area and for the culprits behind the heinous act to be brought to book. Isufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
In other news, peace efforts in Baringo have been enhanced with the establishment of Silale Secondary School in Silale Ward, in what area leaders term as efforts to restore normalcy in the area hugely affected by bandits' scourge. Now, during the launch of the school with 32 students capacity, TRT Member of Parliament William Kamket said the establishment of the school will help reverse the retrogressive culture by reducing illiteracy level and is part of a long-term program towards ending banditry, which has been the norm of the area. Security apparatus are also set to be deployed in the area as part of efforts to ensure that learning is not affected by bandits who may want to attack and burn the school. The illiteracy level in the Tiati constituency stands at 75% in the country, according to the 2019 Kenya Demographic Survey, which attributed the situation to retrogressive culture.
since independence. So we are going to be asking everybody to come and help to eradicate illiteracy in Silale and Tiati in general. We are very proud of these young boys and girls here who have joined the school.
In an angle of making dowries like that. So therefore, but we are happy. We have already 7 girls, and that one we will improve them so that in future they will be example to the entire community.
Wananchi wanaishi mbalimbali, alafu hata maisha yao ni maisha ya nomadism, wanahamahama na ng'ombe na mbuzi. Sasa unakuta watoto wetu hata wale walikuwa natamani kwenda shule wanakosa pali pa kukaa ili wasome vizuri. Sasa vile hii shule ilianzishwa, tunaona kuwa itatusaidia sana, maana watoto watakuja na wakae kwa shule na walale kwa shule. Hata wazazi wakihamahama na mifugo yao, watoto bado watakuwa contained kwa shule na watasoma.
Elsewhere, parents of Mueo Secondary School in Kaiti, Makueni County want the school principal ejected over what they have termed as increase in indiscipline cases such as drug abuse and teenage pregnancy. The parents who held peaceful demonstrations were stoned by the students and ejected from the school. 13 students from the school got pregnant last year. The school head teacher declined to comment on the matter.
Tena anakuja amelewa, amebeba mkuka, mila na mbangi kwa mfuko. Akifika shule anatembea, wakati wa games anatembea tu akikula mkuka, watoto wakiona. Sasa hiyo watoto wanapata nguvu ya hata kwenda kununua mkuka huko wanakula. Hii tunashangaa, kwa nini wanakula mkuka? Kwa nini mwalimu anakula mkuka watoto wakiona?
Watoto wengi wana mimba. Wale vijana wako ni walevi. Sasa tumeshindwa hii shule yetu na nile ya tutakuwa tupeleke watoto wapi? Tunashindwa, tunalilia Wizara ya Elimu hiyo tuokoe. Huyu mwalimu aondolewe kwa ajili tumekuja kwa shule tukiwa na amani. Tuongee na mwalimu mkuu atoke kwa amani. Lakini kuna walimu wale wameincite watoto. Tumepigwa mawe na wale watoto wetu. Huyu mtoto atakuja kwangu aje? Mimi ndio namtolea fees. Anakuja kula kwangu. Na mwalimu anaincite mtoto anipige mawe. Itakuwaje?
Akitoka kwa gari hivi akaanguka chini. Akakuwa mtu wa kuinua. Akainuliwa, akarudishwa kwa gari na hakusema chochote akaenda. So, kwa hivyo sisi tumechoka na hiyo ulevi ya mwalimu. Tunataka mtusaidie sana, tupate mwalimu mwenye anaweza kutushika mkono kwa ajili ya masomo. Watoto wetu wamekuwa wazazi, wengi wao wanasoma wakienda nyumbani saa 7 kunyonyesha na kurudi. Na tunaona cases saa zingine unaona mwalimu ni rafiki ya mtoto. Kama saa hii vile tumesema mwalimu mmoja ameinsight hao watoto. Na hao watoto vile tulianza hii event walikuwa wazuri. Lakini wakati tulitoka nje ya gate watoto wakakuwa simba. Kwa sababu kuna yule alimeenda akawaambia chenye amewaambia na wakachukua hatua.
Githurai Mixed Secondary School in Ruiru constituency has unveiled new classrooms courtesy of Area Member of Parliament Ruiru MP Simon Kingara. The new 9 classrooms built through the CDF kitty is a relief for learners who have been facing congestion in the school. Now, according to the MP, the new facility will open up the area for more developments. Affirming the sentiments, the parents said that their children would trek for several kilometers to school, a challenge that led to dismal performance in their academics.
Changamoto sana ya madarasa kwa sababu tulikuwa na wanafunzi wamepita, hata ukipeleka mtoto ile point amepata hawezi kuendelea kwa hiyo shule kwa sababu uhaba wa fees. So tunaona ni vizuri kwa sababu tutaendelea kukuza madarasa yetu na mashule yetu kwa kila county yetu.
The school is very grateful because it has enabled very many students to join our school because of increased number of classrooms, and since we have more students we also request that we get more classrooms.
Isipokuwa ni vile muda wetu wa kimaendeleo hasa kibunge umeyoyoma, ingestahili tujenge madarasa mengine mawili ndio sasa wala watoto wa CBC wapate nafasi.
Still on matters education, officials and stakeholders from Samburu County have called on the national government and other partners to step in and ensure children from vulnerable and needy families in Samburu have joined secondary schools. The officials have also urged the government to provide food and other donations that will ensure kids stay in school throughout.
Speaking to the press in Maralal during the issuance of bursary fund worth 1.9 million Kenya shillings for 43 schools, Samburu County Woman Representative Maison Leshomo said some pupils who sat for Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations are yet to join secondary schools due to lack of school fees.
Na leo tumepatia groups 23 ya constituency yote 3. Watoto wote ile tulipatia leo mashule 40 yote mpaka hata wale wako national school.
The woman representative added that parents are unable to buy school uniforms and books for children due to losses made due to the prolonged drought.
Ninaomba serikali ya kusimamia chakula. Mtutafutie hata uji ya kusaidia watoto. Mtusaidie. Nataka tukuhimiza Wasamburu wangu. Tukifanya siasa, tufanye siasa ya amani.
The woman representative's office has also issued 2.8 million Kenya shillings to support macro and small business enterprises within the country.
Waliofaidhika ni wanafunzi wa shule ambazo zinapatikana Samburu County pamoja na groups. Jumla ya shilingi milioni 1,900,000 zimepeanwa kwa bursaries. Alafu jumla ya shilingi milioni 2.8 zimepeanwa kwa various groups.
Weekly Pokot, Lunchtime News.
Now, education stakeholders in West Pokot County are demanding that authorities beef up security and launch investigations into the shooting of pupils and the cause of fire on Tartar Primary School in the region. This comes after parents, teachers and learners expressed fears after the school dormitories were torched twice by unknown persons on Saturday and Sunday nights last week.
Parents, teachers and learners at Tartar Primary School in West Pokot County have expressed security concerns after the school dormitories were torched twice by unknown persons on Saturday and Sunday night last week.
Sasa hiyo jana watu watu ya senda tena hao watu ya pikipiki wakao mara moja hapa wakasaidiana na hao mawatchman hapa wakaokoa hiyo dom, ndio mnaona iliokolewa haraka sana, kwa sababu hii vitu ni ya dunia tunaweza pata, lakini mwanadamu hautapata. So hapo tulisema asante Mungu kwa sababu umeokoa watoto wetu, na hiyo vitu zingine kama imeungua mattress, vitanda nini, mkiona hata hiyo dome yenyewe vile inafanana na kama mliingia ndani mkiona ile vile imeharibika.
On Monday night, another gang armed with arrows attacked the learners in their dormitories. Tartar Primary School Deputy Head Teacher Dixon Mulay claimed the community were unsuccessful at trying to put out the twin fires. He further claimed the gang only targeted the girl dormitories. Matchboxes and matchsticks were found at the scene of crime.
Two of our subordinate staff were leaving off after duty when they spotted smoke emanating from one of the girls' dormitories. And thereof, they raised the alarm and children came out. The community also came in hand, and we want to appreciate the community that they used all their resources to come and put out the...
Police officers say the fire could have been an arson attack. The education stakeholders are now demanding for a thorough investigation into the suspected arson incident.
Wajie askari na sisi wasasi na viongozi kufanya uchunguzi, na huyo mwenye alikuwa na tabia ya kama kuna mtu mwanadamu ama ilikuwa ni electrical fault, tuwezi sema sababu final investigation ita reveal nini ilifanyika, lakini the only incident tumeona kwa hii county.
Speaking when he visited the school to donate mattresses to the learners, Area Governor John Lonyengapo pledged to set up new dormitories for the learners.
In other news, a 400-bed capacity dormitory facility has been commissioned at Nyangwa Boys High School in Mbeere South constituency, Embu County. Now, the facility was constructed through the Constituency Development Fund at a cost of 30 million shillings.
The development comes as a huge relief to the Nyangwa Boys High School community as they look to ease congestion in the existing dormitories that house over 2,000 students. The number of students joining the school has grown exponentially over the years, putting pressure on the existing infrastructure. In the year 2021, the school converted the dining hall into a dormitory to create more space for accommodation. Speaking while commissioning the dormitory, Area Member of Parliament Geoffrey Kingangi said the Constituency Development Fund had to partner with the school in improving its infrastructure.
Hii shule ndio shule ambaye ndio kubwa zaidi katika Bere South. Ya pili ndio shule ambaye inapeleka watoto wengi zaidi kwa university. Mwaka uliopita imepeleka watoto 205 kati ya watoto 235, kumaanisha kwamba tu wale wakwenda university tu ni watoto 30.
Wale watu ambao ni waanzilishi wanakuwa na matatizo hapa na pale, lakini tukisaidiana kama vile tumeshikana wazazi na kupitia CDF na serikali kuu, nafikiri itawezekana. Kunaweza kuwa na changamoto kidogo hapa na pale, lakini hatimaye nafikiri itakuja kufaulu.
Edwin Austin for Lunchtime News.
Now, imagine being locked out of opportunities to maximize your full potential because of your vulnerability. That is the fate of many persons living with disabilities who continue to face marginalization and discrimination in the society. Safin Acheng brings you the story of Kennedy Asembo, who is living with albinism, who is using his role as the Assistant County Commissioner in Trans Nzoia East Sub-County to create awareness on the need for PWD's inclusion and mainstreaming.
According to the 2019 census, 2.2% of Kenyans live with some form of disability. Marginalization, stigma, and exclusion of persons with disabilities remain a concern, with the majority of them still locked out of decision-making and leadership positions. In Trans Nzoia East Sub-County, we meet one among the few persons with disabilities who have had to force their way to the top, Kennedy Asembo, the Assistant County Commissioner. Getting here has not been a walk in the park, he says, having faced a myriad of challenges as a person living with albinism.
The challenge that we face is one that goes with our condition, the eyesight and the extreme sun rays. You see, my skin is very delicate that I cannot stand for long in the sun. And my eyesight is too short that I cannot see writings beyond 30 meters or so.
Despite the challenges, Asembo refused to let his skin condition derail his passion to serve his people.
The priority that we are given in job interview and in job when they advertise the vacancies.
According to his boss, DCC Abed Mulo, Asembo's exemplary performance at work is indeed a testament that disability is not inability.
Their IQ is higher than us. Their reasoning is very good, and they're very acceptable people. Very pleasant to live with. The young man I have with is joyous, and is some sort of entertainment to everybody, not out of the skin color, but from what comes out of his brain. When he opens his mouth, you expect something pleasant. So I don't think they should be in any way looked down upon in the society.
Asembo envisions a society where persons with disabilities will not be hindered from accessing jobs and economic empowerment opportunities.
And in the political arena, Pamoja Africa Alliance leaders now blame political dictatorship for economic woes bedeviling the coast region, led by Kilifi Governor Arson Kingi. The politicians say the ODM party never considered interest of the coastal people, hence the need to have their own political party. Elsewhere, a section of members of parliament from Nakuru County now want KRA to institute fresh negotiations with the Naivasha-based Keroche brewery that has been closed down due to tax arrears.
The Pamoja African Alliance Party, PA, led by Kilifi Governor Arson Kingi, is on a mission to convert the coastal electorate from fanatical support of one individual.
Leo sikuja hapa kuuza ODM. Nimekuja hapa kuzika ODM.
The PA brigade held series of rallies in Kilifi County where they accused ODM party of neglecting the interests of the coastal region.
Ni kwa sababu ndani ya chama cha ODM hakuna malengo, hakuna maslahi ya Marereni, ya Magarini na Mpwani kwa jumla.
Governor Kingi justified the formation of PA party, saying the region had been sidelined by successive governments because it lacked a political voice, since residents have been embracing political outfits with origins from other regions. Similar sentiments were made by Magarini MP Michael Thoya Kingi and nominated Senator Christine Zawadi, who urged the electorate in the region to vote for PA candidates.
Ukitaka kumaliza uspota wewe mtu wa Marereni, ni lazima tuwe na mkataba na mtu ambaye anahitaji nini? Kura ya Mpwani. Ukitaka kumaliza uspota wewe Mpwani, tupige kura, tuwe na malengo na nini? Na mikataba.
Kwa sababu hatuna chama cha kusisitiza kwamba hii poti haitaenda. Hatuna sauti. Tumeingia ndani ya nyumba ya mtu na mamlaka namo wewe. Nyumba ya mtu kuna mamlaka nayo.
Meanwhile, 5 MPs from Nakuru County have faulted Kenya Revenue Authority for closing down Keroche breweries over tax evasion claims.
We now have families not able to raise basic amenities, landlords locking out workers, school children staying home, and have now been made beggars in a country where unemployment is already a very big issue.
Just don't harass and don't do total closure, because it affects more than just one person who is running for the Senate. It affects the thousands who are depending on their lifeline. It affects the people who are suppliers. It affects the farmers who are bringing sorghum and barley here.
These issues are...
Well, that report brings us to our first break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far. We'll be back with more news.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Our arts and entertainment industry has evolved over the years.
It is at such times that our destinies are written. Will we rise up in courage or die in cowardice?
And welcome back. Well, those live pictures on the screen are pictures from State House, Nairobi, where Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema has arrived in the country this Wednesday for a 2-day state visit at the invitation of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, let's cross over to State House. Kenyatta has received Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema at State House, Nairobi. The heads of state will hold a one-on-one meeting before leading their delegations in bilateral talks. The leaders at the same time will discuss regional, continental and international issues of mutual interest. The bilateral talks will be followed by the signing of an MOU between Zambia and Kenya in various sectors, which will provide for the further consolidation of social economic cooperation between the two countries. We shall be bringing you a detailed report in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. For now, we move on to education matters, where the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers has warned against politicizing the competence-based curriculum, emphasizing on its suitability. KUPPET Secretary General Akelo Misori said only gaps within the system should be fixed, since scrapping it off will be detrimental to the education system. At the same time, Misori called on the Teacher Service Commission to increase the number of teachers ahead of next year transition junior secondary. He urged the Ministry of Education to focus on ensuring quality of education is in line with a 100% education transition.
CBC has taken off, and reversing the gear of implementation will be more expensive than what we have now. We need to fix the gaps which exist, especially as complainants usually say that we don't have sufficient facilities. But you realize that the government of the day, I think, has also made tremendous effort that if classes were not there, they are building them. What we need to push forward is the relevant infrastructure. They need to add sufficient number of teachers, and they also need to have sufficient infrastructure in schools, especially for the development in the third year of secondary education. So we need a more robust approach and strategy to employ more teachers.
Step in the ring with me, because we have a lesson to teach everybody.
My interest in modeling came about when I saw a lady walking on the runway called Winnie Harlow. She had vitiligo and it did not stop her from modeling.
Is the bear a dangerous animal or is it harmless? Well, let's see what happened in the story about the bear and the two friends.
I'm going to show you guys on how to make the yummiest, fluffiest pancake at home. I'm going to teach you about how fish swim with the technique called surface tension.
Bila jasho, easy. Bila jasho, hakuna wowo. Bila jasho, easy tunatoka hapa bila jasho.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Our arts and entertainment industry has evolved over the years.
It is at such times that our destinies are written. Will we rise up in courage or die in cowardice.
Who are the movers and shakers in film and theatre? Get trendy as we review locally produced films and stage drama every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Cinemas and Theatre.
Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
The World Blood Donor Day is celebrated every year on the 14th of June. This year's theme is donating blood as a sign of solidarity. This event will be held at Olkalau in Nyandarua County and will be presided over by Mutai Kagwe, the CS of Health. Safe blood transfusions are critical aspects of care and public health, and there is need for a consistent blood bank in Kenya, as there is someone who needs blood every 2 seconds. You are encouraged to regularly and voluntarily donate blood in order to address the current shortage. Help save lives by donating blood.
Welcome back. And on news making headlines in the business world, Tatu City will host the country's biggest call center, with its construction set to be completed by the end of next year. The flagship project, which has already broken ground, will employ at least 4,000 people with the aim of providing business process outsourcing and customer support for companies within the special economic zone.
Tatu City is Kenya's first special economic zone, hosting a myriad of businesses and companies that enjoy a 10% corporate tax reduction for 10 years and a 15% rate for the subsequent 10 years. Businesses registered within the city also enjoy the additional benefit of zero-rated VATs, import duty exemptions, and low withholding taxes. So far, more than 70 companies are operational within the special zone, with many players in the manufacturing sector setting up establishments there.
The opportunity that we have, the clean title on land, the SEZ status that you have within the city, and also understanding that Tatu City brings global best practice to Kenya.
Generally, from our perspective, we look at where there's youth and where there's a good catchment area in terms of obtaining youth. And we look at a market where our youth at the minute, there's a high unemployment rate. So I think when we look at the overall picture in terms of what we can do and being one of the pillars and vision of 2030 in Kenya, I think that we're really making great strides in terms of alleviating the unemployment issue here.
The call center flagship project being operated by CCI Global promises ultra-modern amenities that would further enhance service provision in the city. The international company notes its entry into the Kenyan market through Tatu City is strategic, with the aim to expand even further into the region through it. Project stakeholders note the employment availed will take keen interest in the youth, taking advantage of the vast pool of IT-trained Kenyans.
So the employment impact is really significant, but this is going to be a new world-class business hub, not just for Kenya, but for Nairobi.
So for us, Kenya has become a really active country of investment for us.
The project will provide business processing outsourcing services, including consumer sales services and digital customer management strategies. Hibak Said for Lunchtime News.
Now, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says the vast 10,000-acre Miwani nuclear estate remains the property of the government and that plans are underway to revive the Mela. Clifford Okech reports from Kisumu County.
Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya was in Kisumu for a farmers' field day. Here, the issue about the ownership of the 10,000-acre piece of land hosting Miwani Sugar Company emerged. The miller that was placed under receivership in the year 2000 has battled with a private farm over its nucleus over the last 3 decades. This has seen farmers drawn from the area appeal for government support, and Munya is adamant that no inch of land that was owned by Miwani Sugar Company will be lost.
Lakini pia niwaambishie National Land Commission na rekodi zote za serikali zinaonyesha ardhi ya Miwani ni ya serikali. Naelewana? Hiyo ardhi ni ya nani? Kwa hiyo mtu asidhubutu kujaribu kuchukua. Sidhubutu. Hiyo ni ardhi ya wananchi wa eneo hili lazima wasaidike na hiyo ardhi.
Some area residents had also wanted the land redistributed to them, arguing that the community had leased it to white settlers in the year 1902 for sugarcane and coffee farming, and that the lease had expired, hence it be reverted back to them.
Haijauzwa na mtu, haijanunuliwa na mtu, na hatuna shida na mtu yeyote, lakini hatutakubali watu wanyakue ardhi ya watu wa eneo hili. Koti isitumike kunyang'anya watu mali yao.
Munya used the field day to challenge farmers in the country to modernize their farming methods as well as diversify to steadily improve earnings.
Tutaharakisha mabadiliko yale tunafanya kwa sekta ya sukari. Tumeanza, lakini tutaharakisha. Na sukari itarudi, itarudi, nzuri, itakuwa sawa sawa. Lakini ni muhimu kulima hata vitu vingine. Hiyo inaitwa diversification. Wakati ile haisai vizuri, ingine na kusaidia stream ingine ya pesa.
For Lunchtime News, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Now, waste management has been a major challenge in Kenya's urban areas. In Nairobi, churning out an estimated 2,400 tons of solid waste. The government is now looking to set up 6 waste treatment plants in the city to solve the problem. The plants to be set up by Zurich-based firm Hitachi Zosen in partnership with the Ministry of Environment will help convert recyclable and non-recyclable waste into heat and electricity.
Of Environment and Forestry. I don't know whether we are represented here today by anyone from the Ministry of Environment. Supported the county through various donors in coming up with a sustainable action plan for the city. That waste management sustainable action plan was developed and is what, since the Nairobi Metropolitan Service was established, has been implementing. Out of that action plan, the action plan had also various activities. And some of those key components were on how do we transit Nairobi City County from the linear model of waste management to a circular model.
We see that there is a very high demand, and landfills are not a solution. Landfills are cheap, but they are also polluting. They are contributing to global warming by releasing methane. They are contributing to they are not to the pollution of groundwater, and they need a lot of space, and they are also sometimes very risky if they are sliding down onto populated areas. So this is, in our perspective, is clearly unsustainable, and that's the reason why we are committed to provide energy from waste solutions.
Now imagine, as a proprietor of a small business who has the technology to monitor business activities, borrow capital and gain financial management skills on the go. This is exactly what small businesses are doing to cut costs and keep using their mobile devices. Our reporter Alan Aoko looks at how small businesses are leveraging mobile financial management technology in their businesses.
In this nice tale of a win-win situation for the company, they get to do social impact. But for small business like this one, they get to do some formal bookkeeping for their records. And this is how they do it.
Small businesses face challenges securing financing from lenders, and as seen, most of them run out of business before their 5th anniversary. This has been linked to poor record keeping and financial knowledge by most SMEs.
For companies, it's not really that easy. Our business environment, we have very high taxes and all these things. So, of course, with that being said, I believe that there's a lot of room for improvement in terms of the government helping us run businesses, not just us as digital lenders, but basically the general environment for business.
A number of small businesses have shown that besides challenges accessing credit, loss of stock as a result of incorrect computations threaten the health of the business.
As employers, we're trying to create employment for our many youth who are, unemployed in the country, and so we'd really like the government to support us in that aspect.
Technology has proven efficient in streamlining business operations, with small business owners talking of better sales.
Most micro, small and medium enterprises do not have a formal way of keeping their records. So we have a very simple app that small businesses can use to capture their day-to-day transaction, and through evaluation of the transaction, we're able to recommend them for financing.
Mobile financial technologies with various features are currently cropping up in the country and are popular among businesses owned by the youth, since some of them do not require data plans.
The call from innovators to the government is now that they should make the business environment more conducive for innovators to make it more business friendly so that they can continue with social impact to small businesses.
Over 2,000 female motor riders who are school dropouts are set to adopt electric motorcycles to generate income while greening the transport sector in Kigali. According to the Ministry of Infrastructure, Rwanda targets to convert 20% of the fleet for Kigali bus rapid transit to electric vehicles. Here are the details of these and much more from Africa.
The Vice Mayor in charge of socio-economic affairs in the city of Kigali says that at least 120 vulnerable women who are school dropouts, vulnerable single mothers, delinquents, and former street vendors are being trained on using electric motorcycles in partnership with the local company Safi Universal Link. Rwanda Environment Management Authority says over 30,000 motorcycles could be transformed into electric motorbikes over the next 5 years. The transport sector contributes 13% of total greenhouse gas emissions in Rwanda, and the total adoption of electric vehicles will require up to $900 million. Meanwhile, the World Bank has approved a $474.4 million loan to help South Africa fund 47 million COVID-19 vaccine dose purchases. The loan is part of government efforts to cut debt service costs by using cheaper funding sources in its response to the pandemic. South Africa has recorded the most coronavirus cases and deaths on the African continent, with over 3.9 million confirmed cases and more than 101,000 deaths. Over 50% of South Africa's adult population has received at least one vaccine dose. In recent months, the vaccination campaign has slowed, despite efforts to boost take-up. Finally, the United Nations World Food Programme has suspended some food aid in South Sudan due to a funding shortage heightening the risk of starvation for 1.7 million people. The country battles severe food insecurity during a lean season exacerbated by other factors like drought, flooding, and the crisis in Ukraine. The World Food Programme says it needs $426 million to reach 6 million food insecure people through 2022. The program will prioritize its limited food assistance to reach 4.5 million people who are struggling with a severe hunger across 52 counties across the country.
The Sri Lankan government is giving public sector workers leave every Friday for the next 3 months to encourage them to grow food amid fears of a food shortage. Now the government will provide public sector workers with the necessary facilities to engage in agricultural activities in their backyards or elsewhere as a solution to looming food shortages. Here are the details of these and more across the globe.
It comes as the island nation, home to around 22 million, faces its worst economic crisis in more than 70 years. Sri Lanka is struggling to pay for critical imports such as food, fuel and medicine as it faces a severe shortage of foreign currencies. The government approved a proposal for its 1 million public sector workers to be given leave every Friday for the next 3 months. The decision was partly to help workers who are facing difficulties getting to work due to fuel shortages, as well as to encourage them to grow fruit and vegetables to help feed themselves and their families. Sri Lanka Prime Minister said the country needed at least $5 billion this year to pay for essential imports. Meanwhile, flights in and out of Switzerland were suspended for hours and Swiss airspace closed because of a computer failure at Air Traffic Control Service SkyGuide. Geneva and Zurich halted flights for hours, but Geneva Airport has announced air traffic is gradually resuming. SkyGuide said a technical malfunction in the early hours of Wednesday meant Swiss airspace had to be closed to traffic for safety reasons. Some flights were being diverted to Milan in Italy. Skyguide spokesperson said the problem appeared to be hardware fault and that they did not believe their system had been hacked. Finally, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have continued to slide as investors bail out of risky assets in anticipation of sharp rises in interest rates to tackle inflation. Two of the world's biggest cryptocurrencies platforms restricted activity as the wider market meltdown continued apace. The Celsius network, which has 1.7 million customers, said the extreme market conditions had forced it to temporarily halt all withdrawals, crypto swaps and transfers between accounts. The UK-registered company has about $3.7 billion in assets. It pays interest on cryptocurrency deposits and loans them out to make a return. Bitcoin, the world's most valuable cryptocurrency, fell about 8%, dropping below $23,000. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
And now in the sports arena, England's dismal Nations League campaign continued as they slumped to their worst home defeat of 4-0 against ruthless Hungary to leave Gareth Southgate's side rooted to the bottom of Group A3. Meanwhile, Germany became the first team to score 5-2 in a game against Italy since 1957 in a Nations League demolition in Mönchengladbach.
As well, left-footed cross.
England's dismissal Nations League campaign continued as they slumped to their worst home defeat of 4-0 against ruthless Hungary to leave Gareth Southgate's side rooted to the bottom of Group A3. Roland Salai put the visitors in front with a well-taken finish at the back post, then doubled Hungary's lead with his second on the break 20 minutes from time.
Phillips looking for Shaloi. He's done it again. Roland Shaloi. They can't believe it. And England are 2 down.
There was more to come from a rampant Hungary as Zolt Nagy fired in from range, and after John Stones was sent off to compound a woeful evening for the host, Daniel Gazdag finished smartly to wrap up a second historic win over England in 10 days. Meanwhile, Hansi Flick's side led 5-0 again in 69 minutes through Joshua Kimmich, Ilkay Gundogan's penalty, Thomas Muller, and a quick-fire Timo Werner double. Wilfred Gnotto became Italy's youngest ever goal scorer, and Alessandro Bastoni headed in a second. In other matches, Moldova won 2-1 against Andorra, Latvia beat Liechtenstein 2-0, Belgium lost 1-0 to Poland, while Ukraine drew 1-1 with the Republic of Ireland.
Into the near post and into the back of the net from Alessandro Bastoni.
Costa Rica became the last team to qualify for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar with a 1-0 victory over New Zealand last night at Ahmad bin Ali Stadium. In the Intercontinental Playoff, Costa Rica took a third-minute lead when ex-Arsenal player Joel Campbell shot low into the bottom.
Costa Rica have now qualified for the World Cup 6 times, and this will be their third successive appearance. Former Arsenal forward Campbell netted in the 3rd minute in Doha, and New Zealand, who were reduced to 10 men in the second half, could not find an equalizer despite dominating for long periods. Costa Rica will face Germany, Spain and Japan in a tough Group E at the World Cup tournament. The 2022 World Cup begins on 21st of November in Qatar, with Costa Rica playing 2010 champion Spain in their opener on the 23rd of November.
Attention à ce bon appel de Chris Wood.
Well, that report on World Cup qualifiers brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for choosing Lunchtime News. For more news, check out our website at kbc.co.ke. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Len Saudingo. Enjoy the rest of the day.
smoke all the cigarettes no more. This is what I get for wishful thinking. I should never let you enter my door.